as well.
Yeah.
So I'll start in a minute, and then we'll just give it 30 more seconds, Ronak, and if not, we'll just, you've got a VIP session just for yourself.
Thanks, Adam. Let's see if more people
Yeah,
can. Would be a
we'll
good
see.
introduction.
Yeah. All right, I think we're going to get going, Ronak. Okay, so so welcome to the session on the Snowflake Expert Bootcamp, and I'll give you a bit of background and context in the moment of where this came from and what it's looking to help people with. So these are the people I'm aiming at. So if your company hasn't invested in technology over the years, has been left behind in the cloud computing arenas overtook it. This is where a lot of developers I speak to or data engineers have landed up, and that's suffering the frustrations of working with legacy on-premise databases such as like Oracle and DB2 and SQL Server. And they're looking over the fence and they're looking at their colleagues and friends working in the fast lane, working with cloud computing such as Snowflake, and producing results much more easily. They're not having to work out how to integrate multiple systems together. They're not having to worry about storage filling up and hitting upper limits of on-premise machines and all that great pain that comes with on-premise environments. So if you're one of these people, then and I'm sure, Ronak, from what you said, you are at the moment. So if you're a data analyst, engineer, scientist, or architect wanting to break into cloud computing with Snowflake, then you're in the right place. If you've got a background in working with databases and you know how to write SQL, and you want to go to the next level, this is exactly the kind of course, and they're the only prerequisites you need, really. This session is probably not a good fit for people that just want to learn SQL, Python, or Spark, or any other programming language for that matter, because you can just go on Udemy and pay a small fee and you can learn the theory behind that. I'm here to take people to the next level, working for myself, becoming a real expert. And this course isn't about theory or information, it's about application in the real world to overcome common complex challenges that I myself have worked on in the field, and I've worked out a kind of way to approach those by packaging up the Snowflake capabilities together in a usable way to avoid those common pitfalls and errors. So a little bit of background about myself. So I started about 20 years ago working in data analytics, and I quickly decided I wanted to be the best I could at it. So I started my own data analytics company when I was 24. And as a result of that and the work I kind of got involved with, I ended up working with companies all over the UK and Europe, and now here in Sydney, Australia. In 2017, so about 5 years ago, I started working with Snowflake. And I myself at the time, I came from predominantly a SQL Server, BI stack background, but I also used Informatica and Teradata and some of the other wider products available on the market. But I found Snowflake was so easy to use, such a breath of fresh air, and you could start delivering business value that much faster. So what I found at the time, it was really hard to get hold of really good, valuable content that I could read one day and apply the next. It was just painful and time consuming to go through all the theory on the Snowflake website or researching the stuff, testing out what worked well and what didn't. And the main thing I see with my clients today, Ronak, is that they'll take Snowflake and they'll apply their old techniques to the new world, and they'll lose a lot of the value that Snowflake can offer as part of that process. So fast forward to today, and numerous Snowflake implementations later, I found what works, what doesn't, through just painful trial and error, and making mistakes myself early on, and experimenting with different techniques. So in short, I had a recipe or a formula that worked, And then earlier this year, I decided to start a YouTube channel, which you may or may not have came across, to start sharing some of that knowledge with the community. And here's some of the thumbnails from the YouTube videos, including my favorite one on time travel. And then as part of arriving here in Australia from the UK and working on a lot of these kind of high visibility, high impact case studies, I was able to get a global talent visa, which gave me full working rights here, so I could continue my consultancy out here as well. So earlier this year, I was approached by a publisher who recognized that I had this kind of formula, this recipe with Snowflake, and asked me to put together a book called Building Solutions for Snowflake that'll be coming out early next year. And as I started to write down the information that was locked away in my head, I got the idea of that it'll be really good if I can help more than one client at a time by packaging up that formula and delivering it as a digital course. Ultimately, I hit a ceiling. I couldn't scale it in the way I wanted to because it's just me, and so I wanted to take it more widely. So within a month of putting the YouTube stuff out there, I went from having just like 3 clients to getting like daily requests in my inbox from people all around the world, and that's the power of the digital media and the platform that we have today. And that is the background and story of how the Snowflake Expert Bootcamp came about. And I got this quite recently. Creditly, who does the certification and badges for Snowflake, posted this. And I just wanted to highlight this figure here because people who can demonstrate experience, even if this is just related to the SnowPro core certification, which is relatively basic. The course I'm offering will take people far beyond that level of competency, and it'll be more in line with the latest architecture certification that Snowflake now offers. It's very comprehensive, very in-depth as well. So let's have a look and get into a bit more detail. So I've developed something called the Everest method, which basically stands for these things, all snow themed. And it breaks the course down into 3 separate sections, essentially. So the first one is getting to the base camp and mastering the basics. And this is all about getting the fundamentals down and well understood. Before we move on to any of the more advanced topics, it's really important that we understand how the Snowflake architecture works, and that allows us to design effective solutions when we get into the more advanced topics. The second section of the course is where we're looking at how to use and leverage the out-of-the-box capabilities that Snowflake brings and put them together in a way that addresses real-world challenges in the complex, messy world of data. And this is what the theory doesn't tell you. The theory just tells you how each component works individually. What I'm going to tell you is how, and this is how you apply it in a commercial environment, and stuff I've learned and stuff I help my clients with on a day-to-day basis. The final bit is scaling the summit and making the summit ascent and getting into that rarefied environment that not many people sort of break into. And this is all about performance tuning, advanced performance tuning. So how do you tune Snowflake, a product that prides itself on, if you believe the marketing aspect, something that doesn't need any administrational input, it just runs. And that promise holds true, but only to a degree. Once you reach a certain scale of users and data, you then need to lift the lid on things and get your hands dirty and actually address some of those performance challenges. So that breaks down roughly like this. So the first phase of the project is a little bit more theoretical than the rest because it lays the groundwork for the subsequent weeks. But we look at the architecture, the 3 different layers there, what their job is and how they interact. We look at how you get data onto Snowflake, either from an internal or external stage. And we look at the different frequencies, sort of batch loading through to continuous loading using Snowpipe as well. We also cover streams and tasks and setting up change tracking or CDC on a table using table streams. The middle section of the course, scaling the wall, we cover how to set up standards and guardrails and employ the role-based access control. This is something I see a lot of clients get into a lot of trouble with quite quickly. It's quite easy to set this up when you've just got a handful of users, but if you set it up wrong from the beginning, you can get into a whole world of pain further down the line when you need to then address some of those pain points. It also includes handling PII data or sensitive information as well, and how to best address that, and how to design your data models effectively to make that process as easy as possible, as well as a number of other aspects. But again, we'll get into a lot of detail in the sessions, and there'll be assignments as well set to help crystallize that understanding, that knowledge I'm giving you. Weeks 4 and 5, again, highlighting some of the key kind of Snowflake capabilities such as time travel and fail-safe. And also you mentioned data sharing, Ronak, so you're probably familiar with some of those concepts, but how best to share data within and outside of your organization and some best practices around that. The final bit, the more advanced stuff, week 7 is a really good one. Tells you how to recognize certain patterns, query profiles, and data warehouse utilization graphs, how to understand what good looks like, and how to take preventative action, and what to do, and how to basically perform a diagnosis against certain symptoms, essentially. So that's that. That's the 3 different phases for the Everest program. You've obviously this is all through LinkedIn, so you're probably already aware that I'm fairly active on that in terms of the Snowflake material. At the top, then we've got the Udemy course. I've got a SnowPro course certified practice exam, which has helped over 2,000 students so far. Everybody that enrolls on the bootcamp course gets free access to that. And as I mentioned earlier, I've got a YouTube channel, which I release weekly videos on there, 10-minute videos, fairly basic level at the moment, just telling people what Snowflake's all about, and I focus on the different capability in each video. So it's not theory. You've essentially got 2 options. You can either try and do it yourself like I had to in 2017, and it takes time and effort, and it's quite painful, or you can follow kind of my proven success path where I've taken all my experience and knowledge and package that up into an 8-week program where you can come off the back of that and be an absolute expert and talk with a level of credibility and confidence about how to design, implement, and scale Snowflake. So let me just scan through this stuff. I think that's pretty much it. So that's kind of it, Ronak, in terms of the course structure itself and what it covers. Each of these 8 weeks, if I just go back to slides. So each of these 8 weeks here is a live 90-minute session, same time, same day, on a call with myself, all recorded and made available to the attendees and the candidates who have enrolled in the course. So if you miss a week, it doesn't really matter. You can catch up in your own time, or if you want to re-review something after the week has moved on, you can do that as well. There's access to a private LinkedIn group as well for the lifetime. That's lifetime access. So as Snowflake evolves as a product, I'll be re-recording new content to cover those capabilities and making those available and keeping the course content up to date and fresh. Everybody that goes through the course and enrolls into the course over time will form part of that community, that LinkedIn private group community, where you can ask any questions you've got related to Snowflake, and I'll be dipping in there throughout the day, as well as other people can contribute as well. In addition to the live 90-minute calls, across those 8 weeks, there'll also be a 60-minute Q&A call where I can help you if you've got any questions or issues with completing some of the assignments. Or if you've got any other questions around like interview question and answers with regards to Snowflake, or even questions on other products. So on a day-to-day basis, Ronak, I work with clients who work with AWS, GCP, and Azure infrastructures and data services. And I'm actively working on those and designing architectures and helping those with problems as well. So I can also provide a different perspective on how those stack up against Snowflake as well. I think that's kind of it. So I'll probably stop talking there on. I can give you a good half of the session to ask any kind of questions, and we can just have a chat about what you're interested in.
Thank you, Adam, first of all, to introduce yourself and giving the whole picture of the weekly course, the Everest formula and everything. It's very exciting, first of all, to know, so many practical contents you are covering in that. Um, and I mean, kind of the book I will be looking for. You said it's going to release in some next mid-year. That's going to be.
Well, I hope early in the new year. I'm just finishing the final chapter this month in draft, and then there's a bit of a review process. But I think it'll all be done and dusted certainly by December, and then it's just however long the publisher takes to get it out. So I would imagine sometime early in the new year it'll be coming out.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So on my practical experience, I would like to share with you what I have done with Snowflake so far. For LA-based hospital, I have implemented a Snowflake from scratch. They were not having any data warehouse. So they wanted to, establish a kind of a reporting, dashboarding, and clinical analytics for them. And for that, Snowflake is something we have utilized as a business critical addition because there was some PHI involvement. And they wanted a kind of a BA sign on that, so that they can be very sure of that's already binded in the contract. Their clients and everyone are sure that how they are keeping the data on the cloud is also secured and everything. And on with the Snowflake on the base of AWS, I worked with using S3 and basically Glacier to keep files and everything, and then through the Snowpipe or through the Lambda plus one of the AWS database, using that kind of a framework to ingest the things so that Lambda can use NoSQL, can read the entities, and can ingest the files to a particular stage layer of Snowflake. So that kind of work, and then through the stored proc of NoSQL and the task, how we can do the SCD kind of thing there, so that the final layer is already SCD compliant. That's having all the historical versions for the reporting and everything. And then on top of it, I've used the tool Dandas BI as a reporting tool, kind of a dashboarding. They call it as a self-service because it's having a lot of capabilities of doing the staging of the existing dashboards and kind of move it according to deployment process, many measures and all. So that I'm aware of, apart from Power BI, that is kind of because I'm coming from a background of Microsoft stack. I mean, I started my career as a developer for 2-3 years, and then moved to database administrator for SQL Server and MongoDB. And then, I shifted to a solution architect kind of thing for a telecommunication company. And then from last 5 years, I'm working as a data architect. So mainly I've seen that, kind of evolution of data warehouse from that kind of, dimensional modeling to data vault, and then data vault to, finally we are going through a elastic kind of parallel processing systems like Snowflake over the SaaS. So very encouraging content and everything. Most of them, like implementation of that projects, I have gone through it, but really good. I would like to further, I mean, my friends may be, very much interested as well. So would like to know what would be the enrollment process and kind of a costing and all of this, this entire course of 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's 8 weeks in total. So it's just broken down into 3 sections. So it's 8 weeks in total. It starts the middle of next month, and it runs until the end of November. The enrollment process is I'm not taking just anybody on, so I'm really looking for the ideal kind of clients for this first one, and spaces are limited to 20 people. And the reason for that is I want to make sure I've got the time that I can dedicate to each individual to make sure they get the right value out of it for themselves, because if they're successful, then they'll tell their friends and colleagues about it and also give me positive feedback. So it's really important that I kind of find the right people and limit the numbers as well. So the process is to just drop me a message on LinkedIn and book a call with me. I'll have a chat with them just like this for 30 minutes, get a sense of if the course is a good fit for them. And then if it is, we can discuss pricing options. There's a range of pricing options, but what I will say, it's far cheaper than any of the official Snowflake courses, which are quite expensive if you've looked at the pricing around those. And importantly, it goes a lot further than it goes into a very advanced territory, as much detail as people want. With regards to Snowflake as well, and plus you get the lifetime access. So as Snowflake evolves as a product, like I said, the course content will also evolve as well. But definitely, I mean, if you're definitely a lot further along on the journey than the typical clients I speak to are enrolling on this, and those kind of clients that I'm looking for. But definitely, if you've got other people who are wanting to get into Snowflake and become an in-depth kind of expert within those 8 weeks, and definitely just point them in my direction, and more than happy to jump on a call with them and have a chat.
Got it, Adam. Do you have any enterprise offering as well? I'm a part of an architecture board here with one of the healthcare company in India. We are establishing a Snowflake practice right now, looking for various roles like Snowflake developers, cloud architects and all, also Snowflake architects. So going to be a kind of a big team later on. So any kind of enterprise offering of learning you do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the course content will be the same. So there's one version of the course that I've mentioned to you. In terms of what that looks like from an enterprise offering, there would be a good level of discount depending on the numbers that we're talking about. But yeah, absolutely open to those discussions, and having a couple of discussions with a couple of organizations in the US as well around that. So yeah, and I think that from the perspective I'm offering, I'm teaching Snowflake predominantly as course material, but as I mentioned, I'm also working across all 3 major cloud platform providers, and I've got 20 years of experience in the field, so I can obviously talk around much more than that. Whereas with some courses you're not sure the credibility of the trainer you're going to get. That could be good, that could be bad. I guess it's just who's available on that slot, but with my course, it's myself running it, and there's nobody else that's going to take my slot. So that's probably something worthwhile to bear in mind as well.
Got it. Okay. And will you be putting this recording somewhere on LinkedIn so that my colleagues can also see it and connect with you accordingly?
What I'll do, Ronak, is I'll upload it to a G Drive, and if you don't mind sending me your, if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, if you don't mind sending me your contact email address, I will. I'll share the recording link with you, and by all means, you can share it with them as well.
Okay.
Sure. At this stage, I don't think I'm going to put it on LinkedIn or YouTube at the moment. At this stage,
okay.
I might. And the reason for that is I might record like a more polished version of just me going through the slides and put that on my YouTube channel at some stage, possibly next week. But yeah, if you want this recording with the kind of conversation that we're having as well as the Q&A, I will definitely make a note to upload it to G Drive and drop you the link on your email.
Sure. Okay. Because when I will be going to raise this with architecture board, there would multiple questions, right, on the things what I asked you and what actually I discussed with you.
Yep.
So it would be really helpful if they can they themselves can see, an enterprise architect can decide on that, because the ultimate decision would be his. I can only propose as a part of the board. So
Sure. Yeah. Well, let me have a think. Maybe I can yeah, maybe I'll just put it as upload it as a YouTube video, but just unlist it, and I can just send you the link then, so anybody with the link can view it. That's probably the easiest thing in that case.
Yeah. That would be really good. Yep. Because the main content is about the 8 weeks course and the Everest formula, you have given with the, so that they would be probably, interested in that, how we are going to cover which of the practical things.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing on the market that comes close to this in terms of offering, I mean, the Snowflake 4-day fundamental course covers just the basics, not more aligned with the Snow Pro core certification. You could combine it with other advanced courses delivered by Snowflake to get to that architecture level. But again, it's that's going to be very expensive by the time you add a couple of a couple of different Snowflake courses onto that, and obviously when you finish the course, that is it. Whereas here, you get continuous access to all subsequent updates that I'm making as well. And I'm more than happy to discuss other technologies outside of Snowflake as well, as I mentioned earlier. So it's quite a unique offering, and there's nothing else out there that kind of is kind of comparative to it, and that's kind of why I'm getting a lot of interest, certainly from the US and Canada in it as well.
Yep. And you referred to 90 minutes sometime, right? Like 90
That's
minutes every week.
Yeah.
So
the breakdown is like this, Ronak. So it's 8 weeks. The topics I showed you is a different focus every week. It's 90 minutes in total on a live call. Same day, same time. And then in addition to that, there's a 60-minute Q&A call. Same day, same time in the week, and that allows people to ask questions that they've got either on the assignments or related to Snowflake. And then what backs all of that up is a private LinkedIn group purely dedicated to the bootcamp candidates. That's where I'll be sharing links to all the video recordings of the Q&A calls and the 90-minute sessions as well. And that's another forum where people can ask questions and get responses as well on an ad hoc basis.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm done with all of my questions, Adam.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks so much for making the time and having a chat. And I'm really interested to hear about the work that you've been doing. If you don't mind sharing your email address with me after the call, either through LinkedIn or what have you, then that'll be great. And then what I'll do is once we finish the call, I'll set this video off to upload to my channel. And I will drop you the link later this evening for me, because it's 6:30 in the evening here, or tomorrow morning.
Sure, Adam. Yeah, and I'll try from my side if we can all as a group can have this thing as a course, and it can be approved with as an enterprise offering also.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'd love to be able to help you. So just let me know if you have any further questions on that, and definitely more than happy to help you.
Yep. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much, Ronak, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Bye.
Okay, bye now.